The crimson sands of Vakara Prime stretched endlessly beneath twin suns, creating a landscape that seemed hostile to all life. Yet life persisted here, adapted and thrived in ways that defied human understanding. Ryan Cole had been surveying the planet's mineral deposits for 3 weeks, his solitary expedition taking him deeper into uncharted territories than any human had ventured before. The distress call wasn't transmitted through any recognizable frequency. It was something primal, a sound that bypassed technology and struck directly at instinct. Ryan's hand froze over his scanner as the cry echoed across the dunes, a weak, plaintive wail that spoke of pain and desperation. His training screamed at him to ignore it. Protocol dictated that solo explorers avoid all contact with indigenous fauna, especially on worlds where the ecological balance remained largely unknown. But Ryan had never been particularly good at following protocols when something was suffering. He found the cub wedged between 2 massive rocks, its crystalline fur matted with the planet's rust-colored dust. The creature was magnificent even in distress, roughly the size of a large dog with 6 legs, luminescent stripes running along its flanks, and eyes that held an intelligence that made Ryan's breath catch. One of its hind legs was trapped, twisted at an unnatural angle. "Easy there," Ryan murmured, approaching slowly with his hands visible. The cub hissed, baring teeth that could easily tear through his environmental suit. But beneath the fear, Ryan saw exhaustion. The creature had been here for hours, perhaps days. Working carefully, Ryan used his geological tools to lever the rocks apart. The cub snapped at him twice, missing by inches, but Ryan understood. Pain made all creatures unpredictable. When the leg finally came free, the cub collapsed, trembling. Ryan knew he should leave. His med kit contained supplies for humans, not alien fauna. But those eyes, those impossibly aware eyes, held his gaze. He pulled out a sterile wrap, approached slowly, and began stabilizing the injured leg. The cub's breathing gradually steadied, though it watched him with unblinking intensity. "There you go," Ryan said softly, finishing the makeshift splint. "That should hold until—" The ground trembled. Ryan's heads-up display erupted with warnings. Seismic activity. No, not seismic. Movement. Multiple large signatures converging on his position at impossible speed. He looked up to see them cresting the dunes. Creatures like the cub, but massive, each one the size of a small cargo shuttle. Their crystalline fur blazed in the sunlight, and their eyes, dozens of eyes, fixed on him with predatory focus. The pack had arrived. Ryan's hand moved instinctively to his plasma sidearm, then stopped. What good would it do? Even if he could take down one, the others would tear him apart before he could fire a second shot. He stood slowly, backing away from the cub, hands raised in what he hoped was a universal gesture of peace. The largest of them approached, her movements fluid despite her massive size. Her fur was darker than the others, marked with scars that spoke of countless battles survived. This was Sharoon, though Ryan wouldn't learn her name until much later. She was the matriarch, the decision-maker, the one who would determine whether he lived or died. Sharoon moved past Ryan as if he were insignificant, going directly to the cub. She nuzzled it gently, examining the injured leg and the human's crude medical work. The cub made soft chirping sounds, and Ryan could have sworn he heard complex vocalizations, language perhaps, though nothing his translator could parse. The matriarch's head swung toward Ryan, and he fought the urge to run. Running would trigger chase instinct. Standing still might be interpreted as threat behavior. There was no winning move here, no protocol for this situation. Sharoon approached him, and Ryan's entire body tensed. Her breath washed over him, hot and carrying scents of alien biochemistry. She was close enough now that he could see his reflection in her crystalline eyes, could count every scar on her massive frame. Then she did something astonishing. She lowered her head and pressed her forehead against Ryan's chest, gently, carefully, with a precision that belied her size. The gesture was unmistakable, acknowledgement, gratitude, recognition. Around them, the pack began to vocalize, a harmonic sound that resonated through Ryan's bones. Other pack members approached, each one touching him briefly before moving to tend to the cub. They didn't threaten or investigate him as prey. They welcomed him. Sharoon made a deep, rumbling sound and began walking toward the desert's heart. She paused, looked back at Ryan, and waited. The invitation was clear. Ryan's rational mind cataloged all the reasons this was insane. following alien predators into unknown territory, abandoning his equipment, trusting creatures that could kill him with a casual swipe of their claws. But his instincts, those same instincts that had made him stop for a cub's cry, told him something different. This was why humans explored. Not for minerals or data, but for moments like this. Moments of connection across the vast gulf of evolution and biology. He followed. The pack moved as one, with Ryan in their midst like a bizarre adoptee. They traveled through the night, and when Ryan stumbled in exhaustion, a young male positioned himself to provide support. When the twin suns rose brutal and unforgiving, the pack formed a protective circle that gave him shade. 3 days later, when the rescue ship finally located Ryan's emergency beacon, they found him sleeping peacefully in the center of a pride of alien apex predators. Sharoon herself lay beside him, her massive body providing warmth against the desert's bitter night cold. The rescue team's weapons were trained and ready, but Ryan woke and raised a hand. "Stand down," he said quietly. "They're friends." Sharoon watched as Ryan prepared to leave, her eyes holding that same intelligence he'd seen in the cub. He touched his forehead to hers one final time, mimicking her gesture of respect. As his ship lifted off, Ryan watched the pack disappear into the crimson dunes. Humanity had just learned something profound about the universe. Kindness was not uniquely human. Compassion existed in forms they were only beginning to understand. And somewhere in the desert, a cub with a healing leg would grow up remembering the strange, soft creature who had stopped to help when he didn't have to, teaching his own kind that sometimes the most alien thing in the universe was also the most familiar.